So I guess I'll call the meeting of June the 11th, 2020, the Board of Zoning Appeals to order. Have a roll call, please.
Stallworth,
Kevin Skaggs.
Jim Newman.
Wes Summers. I never got a hold of Lynn, so I'm not sure. Ms. Hodges?
I haven't heard from her either, so.
Well, we've got a quorum, so we'll move ahead. Next on the item is approval of the minutes of the special call meeting of November 14th, 2019. Did everybody get a chance to look at them?
Yes.
Yes.
Any changes or adds to it?
I have none.
No. Motion to approve.
Motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Hearing no discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
Can you recoup who made the motion and second on that one?
Yeah, I think Mr. Newman made the motion. And Kevin, you made the second?
Yes.
Thank you.
Item 4 is the confirmation of the agenda. Everybody, I hope, got a copy of that. Any objections?
No.
No.
Item 5 on the agenda is application ZV 20002. A request by Auburn Realty to allow for a parking pad in front yard of a residential structure. Parking is prohibited between structures and the corridor street per North Augusta Development Code. Article 3, Section 3.8.6.5, Neighborhood Preservation Corridor District Overlay, Access and Parking. The application will affect plus or minus 1-2 acres portion of tax parcel 007-07-16006 located at 1013 George Avenue, zoned office commercial. I will now open the public hearing, and the purpose of the public hearing is to receive public comment on the application. And I guess the first question I have is to Ms. Hodges. Did we properly put signage out and send letters to the neighborhood?
Yes, sir.
Good. So, will you give us a little overview of it?
Certainly, and something I have to go look for real quick is we did get a few public comments on this one that basically were opposed to it. I'll have to just include it in the minutes because honestly, I do not have them in front of me.
Okay.
And I apologize for that. We've had a little bit of a crazy day today. But this is a request to provide I believe it's a 24 by 24 parking pad in front of the residence or in front of the structure at 1013 Georgia Avenue. Do we have any applicants here to represent the case?
Yes, ma'am. This is Tyson Schutze. I'm the owner of the property.
Okay.
All right, sir. We'll get to you.
Maybe my camera
We'll get to you in
on,
just.
or-
Yes, please.
Okay.
Yeah, hold on just a moment. So as we discussed, this is something that would not be allowed under the overlay standards. So we brought it to your attention. Does anybody have any particular questions about it, or?
I'd like to hear from the owner, please.
All right. Well, I believe we need to be sworn in.
Yes. Tyson, would you raise your right hand, please? You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. State your name and address and tell us what you got to say.
My name is Tyson Schutze. I am the owner of the property. I reside at 4 Notley Place in Charleston, South Carolina, 29407.
Thank you.
So I
Would you like-
purchased the, I'm sorry, go ahead, sir.
No, sir, you go ahead.
I purchased the property and was aware that there's a challenging parking situation there for what is a duplex at this point. I guess it's a non-conforming use that's been grandfathered in. My intention was to have less of a parking pad and something that more could be used as a turnaround, where the cars are not backing directly onto what is essentially Georgia and Martintown Road. When I visited the property in backing in and out of the property, it's very challenging to do so. And there's a large, hedge growth at the neighboring property. I've talked to the person that is acquiring the neighboring property about trimming some of the hedges between them, and he was open to doing so. He's not closed on the property yet, but he's under contract on it. And my intention was to do something that was aesthetically pleasing, that would be landscaped, include the proper pavement requirement size that essentially would allow you to pull in and, excuse me, turn the car around in a way that you could do sort of a 3-point turn without backing directly onto Georgia Avenue. And that was my intention. I understand it's not in the current acceptable uses. I did not realize that there was a neighborhood preservation overlay that affected the parking there at the time that I purchased, but that's on me as part of doing my due diligence. So I'm asking for an exception to that.
Anything else you want to add, sir?
I'm open to suggestions by the city that would, if there's some version of this that they would like to accommodate or would like to see me to do something to make sure that it's fitting with the historical preservation, I'm open to doing so.
I have a question.
Yes.
Go ahead, Kathy. Stallworth.
Well, it's just a historic question that he may not know. Was that lot always chopped like that, or did at some point the back of it sell off?
To my knowledge, ma'am, I'm not sure. I purchased it from a woman that I believe had owned the property for a long time, and used to reside there as a personal residence, and rent, I believe, the upstairs out. I'm not sure if it was sold off at some point. I think part of the challenge is not only the depth, but the narrowness between the and the adjoining structure that makes it particularly challenging if you're taking anything other than a really small vehicle down. It's very narrow there.
The DuraClean van has been parked there for several days, and it takes up the entire driveway.
Ms. Hodges, let me ask you a question, please. Do you have a copy of the Ms. Hodges? Do you have a copy of the layout of the lot in the house?
Let's see if I can get forward to it. Hold on.
I believe it was the last.
Yeah, that's it. Now, if I look at that right, there is no way for him to get to with a car down through there. If I looked at it right on the property, I don't even believe you get a small car down through there.
It's nearly.
But on the
Sorry, sir.
No, you go ahead. I'm sorry. This will be awkward, so don't worry about if anybody interrupts anybody.
Yeah, I wasn't trying to talk over you there, sir. I was just going to mention that, yes, between the building and the hedge growth, there's almost no way to get anything down there. I have spoken with the person that is purchasing that property, where if you're facing it from Georgia directly to the right, has mentioned he would be open to trimming down the hedge growth. In addition, when you're backing out, it's very hard to see down Georgia Avenue. From a safety standpoint, there is a utility pole that I had thought about putting a mirror on there where somebody could see as far as backing out. But just having tried to back out there myself, it is challenging.
Did Ms. Hodges, did you or anybody on your staff take a look at the possibility of putting a driveway on the other side? Looks like it's 8 feet over there, clearance.
So that would be, do you mean on the southern side or on the northern side?
On the northern side.
I am not 100% sure that Georgia DOT would allow any further driveway cuts in that area due to its proximity to Martin King Road.
Right. That was my thought too, but I just wondered if y'all had looked at that.
In a general sense, but nothing specific.
How much room is there behind the house? I can't really see this schematic very well on my iPad nor on my computer earlier.
Well, I mean, there is room to park a car or two back there. I think one of the biggest challenges is maneuvering between accessing the back and Georgia Avenue. It's so narrow with no opportunities to really turn around in the back or on the side. And so that was my hope, was that having this place would essentially allow for not only easier access onto Georgia, but to facilitate people getting to the back as well.
How far down does existing gravel driveway extend down?
I believe that it's basically some, version of gravel or crush and run all throughout the back property as well, sir. There's nothing that's paved there. It's all older gravel or crush and run, basically along the side and the back of the property.
Well, who owns the property directly behind your house, where it looks like that? Looks like it belongs to the house next door. Does it?
I'm not sure. I know there's the two. It does look like on this map here that would be, I guess, 1011 Georgia, maybe somebody that I've worked with in the past, who's a local realtor, is in the process of purchasing 1011. And I've already spoken with him about trying to make some arrangement to make it more accessible. I was not aware that there was property behind there that is owned by him. And
It looks
I'm not
like
sure
that on here. On the map. It looks like that.
It does look that way to me as well. I haven't looked at it like this from that perspective before.
What does he use that for?
Right now, the adjoining property, ma'am, is a triplex.
Right.
That has been rented as such for a long time period. He is purchasing the property. He's a local real estate investor that's purchasing the property with the intention to rent it out and its current use, as well.
So do you think he needs that property behind you, or could you perhaps buy some of that property enough to have a turnaround?
I'm open to that as if that's a solution. I'm more than willing to approach him with that. I had asked if he wanted to be on this call. I'm not sure if he is. I don't see his name on here.
Let me, Ms. Hodge, can you put up the aerial map, which I believe will be the next one? Yeah, right there.
Okay.
If you look down at Arlington Avenue, it looks like
Arlington?
there's already Yeah, go all the way down to Arlington. I'm looking at
I see it,
adjacent properties.
Yeah, uh-huh.
It looks like there's already a paved lot in front on that particular piece of property. I know
Which
there's a
one-
precedent. Go
which
ahead.
one as far as Mackey's place?
It's on down, the next one down, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a couple down. So you're looking at the one at the corner, the southern corner of Arlington and Georgia. I would
Yes.
say the difference with that one is that one does not back out onto Georgia Avenue. That one exits onto Arlington.
Right.
But is that paid parking in front?
It appears to be, yes. I believe that is
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah.
that's a commercial business as well.
What about the nationwide office? In that
They
across-
do not exit onto Georgia Avenue, and I don't think they have parking in front either.
Yeah, they do, I think.
Well, the Mackey,
On the Georgia
Mackey
Avenue,
one
it's on the
does
Georgia
not.
Avenue side.
And when they developed,
We-
the neighborhood preservation overlay may not have been in place.
Libby, can you tell us what the objections were from the neighbors? I think it's real important that we hear that.
So I did find the email. I apologize for not having that up earlier. And it was just from a neighbor, Elizabeth Rowland. She's on Summit Avenue. And she just stated, "We do not want this parking pad approved. We hope you do not approve this application." And that was it.
And is that the only one you had?
That is the only one I have right now.
And Summit is down on the south.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know how this comes into play, but the adjoining property headed towards Martintown, there's obviously a lot of parking that is adjacent to the roads there. I guess
Right.
that's a different situation there.
That one would have
Yeah,
been developed before this preservation overlay was in place.
Right.
Yeah.
So that
Most of that is all. Go ahead.
so on the driveway, on the south side of that your gravel driveway, that I guess is a hedge. I can't read it. Hedgerow. How far down does that go?
That basically runs the entire length between the two properties, 1011 and the subject property, 1013. And I do feel confident that I can get that removed or modified in a way that will allow some more width there. But it doesn't. I don't think it'll help with the sort of backing out directly onto Georgia Avenue that is has to occur there.
So here's what. So if there's gravel in the back, why could you not? If you can get through there into access the back, could you not turn around there?
You could. I think it's because it's a duplex. If there's more than one car back there, I think it's going to be more challenging. I think it could happen, sir. I believe that the space in the front would ensure that there's less, getting in and out of there with more than one car.
I personally don't believe that there's enough room between the house and the property line to put in a regular sized driveway. It didn't look like to me there was.
It looks tight. It does. You know what the width is?
I do not, sir.
The property, are you talking about the property line on the south of where the driveway is?
Yes, the south side.
Yes.
That's what I was wondering. How much does that hedge take up on your property?
I have not had a survey done there to determine exactly if that hedge is on my property or the neighbor's property.
Have you already purchased this property?
Yes, sir, I have.
What do you plan on doing with it? You may-
Keeping it as a residential rental, sir.
Oh, so you're gonna keep it as a residential res?
Yes, sir.
Oh, I thought that's what you said, but I want to make sure.
Yes, sir.
Now, residential rental for one tenant?
Two tenants, upstairs, downstairs.
Okay, upstairs, downstairs.
Okay, so you don't,
I would really hope that maybe you could work something out with your neighbor about maybe purchasing some more room in the back. I mean, I don't know what I see people parking on Summit and going into that his house, the south side house. I live very nearby, and I see that frequently. People walking in from Summit, and you don't have that capability, of course. But I wonder how much property you would need in order to have people park in the back, or, if it's only two cars, and be able to turn around and exit Georgia Avenue forward.
Hey, Wes,
Yes.
here's a possible idea. Looking at the parking on the other side of the old Duraclean building, you've got some there that kind of butts the corner of that property. Could you have a back entrance either to your property, or maybe rent a couple of the spots from that office area for them to park in, and they just enter in the back door of your property?
I'm open to exploring any options with the neighboring properties on either side. I think ultimately the objective is just a easier, safer access for the property. However, that's accomplished. That's meets the objectives that are agreeable to you guys. That's all I'm looking to ultimately do here.
all right, let me point out something to you, and maybe we might be able to work something out here. If we hear this tonight and go ahead and act on it, and you don't get the approval, and I have no clue whether you will or won't, okay? Because we have things we have to go through, and I'll explain that to you in a minute. But if we table this for a month, would that give you some time to see if you could work out something with some of the neighbors, or maybe get some of the hedge cut so you could see what you've really got?
I mean, that may be the best
Get the
option.
property line surveyed?
That may be the best option, because when I originally submitted this application, I wasn't aware the neighboring property was for sale, or that it was being sold to somebody that I have existing business relationships with in the past. So, if there is a way to just sort of table it and have me explore what other options I could come back with to, come back with either a better presentation or more information, I'm very open to that, and that seems like that may be the best thing to do.
I personally would like for you to do that. I think we've, until we explore all of the possibilities, I don't think we could make a fair, I mean, I don't think I could anyway, make a fair judgment here. Now, of course, the Duraclean or whatever it is up there is for sale now. Maybe it's somebody's going to buy it that, just hadn't put a sold sign out there yet. So that may be difficult talking to them. I think that's a good idea Jim had. But you do know and seem to be on good terms with your other neighbor on the south side. And I haven't been back there. I've never been back there. So I don't know what he uses that piece of property for. But I mean, that extension back there for, that's not right behind his house.
Yeah, I think that's seems to be the best option to start with, would be talking to him. I need to determine when he's closing on the property, and then go from there. I think it's going to be in the next month or so.
Well, how much time would you like if we decided to table this?
These meetings are once a month. Is that correct, sir?
It's yes, once a month.
Okay. I would say, August should be sufficient to just put it back on the agenda for August. I think that would be enough time to allow me to speak to the neighbor and go from there.
Ms. Hodge Libby, do you agree with us doing this?
That would be fine. We'll
I mean,
put it
I'm
on-
not trying to make, I'm not trying to make more work for you, but I'm trying to find out, because it could very easily be turned down. And then he's got what? He's got a year before he could come back to us.
Yes, sir.
And and if he can't work out if he can't work out a compromise, or we can't work out one, then we'll have to address it head on, however it falls out.
Yes, sir.
Kevin, how do you feel about that?
I'd be okay with that. I hate to, tie him up for a year. I did have one question. This could have easily been an office. Is that correct? Based on how it's zoned, a business?
It could be an office. I think the biggest challenge with the office, sir, would be being that the parking's already difficult for residential. I think anything that would have any type of office space where there would be, frequent visitors would be very problematic there.
And so you would have to have that paved parking in the front if it was
Correct.
a business.
Correct. But I
Jim?
don't know that the highest and best use would be as an office, being that there's the upstairs, downstairs, and it's current. Even with the parking in the front, just anything that would have, frequent visitors coming there, I think is a little bit challenging in that location. I mean,
Yes.
it could work, but I had sort of anticipated keeping it, as a residential rental the entire time.
I think we should table it. This way he can work with his neighbor, and maybe you get with his neighbor. They can both park back there and get the cars off the summit as well. But I think if I'm with you, Wes, if we grant it and he doesn't get it, he's out of luck for a year.
Yeah.
So I would recommend tabling it as well.
And you think August is a couple of months will give you enough time?
I think it will, sir. I think that I think that should work.
I got a question for Libby though. Is if they do work something out for him to come across the back of the property or park back there, does he even need to come back here?
He probably will not. But he can withdraw it with no penalty.
Right.
Okay.
So can I have a motion that we table this to the August meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Any other discussion? All
I
in
would
favor,
just say,
aye? Yes, sir. You
I
go
would just
ahead.
say I appreciate you guys being solution oriented here and talking through all the options and advising me on this route. I appreciate that.
Well, we think that's part of what we should do.
Well, thank you guys. That hasn't been my experience in some other places before, so I really, really do appreciate this.
We appreciate your being flexible too.
Yes. All in favor, say aye.
Uh,
The ayes have it. Thank you very much. I will tell you one thing. You and Libby, you might want to send him a copy of just the 4 things that we have to find for, so that he understands that there are hard things that we have to find yes for. I never did get
Yes,
around
sir.
to reading that.
He has received that as part of his application materials, and he's also received a copy of this staff report.
Okay, good. Thank you. Thank you, sir. We appreciate
Thank you
your
guys
time.
very much. I appreciate it.
sure. Have a good night.
You
All
too.
right. All right. You're welcome. He's gone. All right. Here's the next one. So I'll now close the public hearing on that, and I guess I should have closed it and then we had the motion, but Libby, I think we can get by without it, don't you?
I think for tabling, you're probably all right.
Okay. Item 6 on the agenda is application and request by J.R. Hung LLC for variance. Let me find it. Okay, to the required 30% minimum footage build out required in the North Augusta Development Code, Article 3, Section 3.8.5.3, Highway Corridor Overlay District, and Table 3.9. The application affects a plus or minus 1.43 acre portion of the tax parcel number 010-10-04-062, zone general commercial. And for the purpose, I will open the public hearing at this time. And I will ask you, Libby, did you send letters and properly put a sign out?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. You want to give us a little background on this?
Certainly, as contained in the packet, and I'll move forward to the site plan that was submitted. There are two proposed buildings on this property, and due to the layout and the vehicular circulation needed, they've come before us to ask for a variance to the frontage requirements. They don't meet it quite at the setback line the way it's written in the code. And I believe representative here for the app.
Is that Mr. David Banks?
Yes, that is me.
Thank you, sir. Would you like to give us a little overview of what you plan to do?
Yeah, do you need to swear me in or whatever you did with the
Yes,
last
sir.
fellow?
Yes, sir, I do. If you'll raise your right hand, please. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir, I do.
Thank you. State your name and address, please.
Yes, sir, I will. My name is David Banks. I work with Southern Partners, an engineering company, and I'm representing the owner and also the developer, the proposed developer of this property. The owner wants to sell the property, but we have to get this variant before that will occur. So I'm actually working for the developer. He would like to put a Starbucks and a Arby's. He's got those under contract on the property. And he asked me to do a layout for him. And I mean, I've known about the build out through Libby. I mean, she's this area, it reminds me. And we do meet the build out, but it's not within the 90 feet. The fronts, in the 90-foot maximum setback, which is a requirement. So that's what we're asking for. We are building 30% of the frontage. It's just not within that first 90 feet. I did do a layout trying to get that to work. It conflicts with, they have outdoor seating on the Starbucks. We would end up losing that. And also the drive-through for the Arby's would be very challenging. So that's really why we're here, while I'm here, and trying to see if I can get this worked out to make this property, to develop this.
All right. Thank you. Let me go through these the considerations that we have to do so you understand them. And a variance may be granted in an individual case of unnecessary hardship if the Board of Zoning Appeals makes and explains in writing all of the following, and we must find yes in each one of them. Number one is an unnecessary hardship exists. Number two, there are extraordinary and exceptional conditions pertaining to the particular piece of property. Number three, the conditions do not generally apply to other property in the vicinity. And number four, because of the conditions of the application of this chapter to the particular piece of property would effectively prohibit or unreasonably restrict the utilization of the property. And five, the authorization of a variance will not be of substantial detriment to the adjacent property or to the public good, and the character of the district will not be harmed by the granting of the variance. Harm to the character of the district may include structures that are significantly out of scale and the creation or potential for the creation of excessive noise, light, traffic, or incompatibility late night activity. Number 6 doesn't apply. That's, I think, signage. Number 7, the Board of Zoning Appeals may not grant a variance, the effect of which would allow establishment of a use not otherwise permitted, to extend physically a non-conforming use of the land, or to change zoning district boundaries shown on the official map. If an unnecessary hardship is self-imposed by the applicant, the variance should not be granted. The fact that the property may be utilized more profitable, should a variance be granted, shall not be considered grounds for a variance. In granting a variance, the Board of Zoning Appeals may attach to it such conditions regarding the location, character, or other features of the proposed building, structure, or use as the board may consider advisable to promote the public health, safety, or general welfare. Based on these findings of facts, the board may approve with the conditions, or deny the request. So that's what we have to go through in order to approve it. So does anybody have any questions of Mr. Banks?
I do.
Ms. Stallworth?
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me, are you going to, are your driveways going to go, exit or entrance, whatever, on Highway 25?
No, ma'am, and that's one of the reasons we're requesting the variance, because the main one is the Arby's. They have a very particular way they like stores oriented to their driveways.
Right.
And if we get a driveway, we're not requesting, and we don't want to. I don't think we'd get one anyway from
No.
SCD. If we could do that, we could pull the Arby's up and get that number, because this is called a reverse driveway, where their driveways are actually in the back of the building. You know, they're 2 driveways you can see on the site plan. So they're to do that, they have to put where they're stacking for their pickup window is actually coming in front of the store. So by that it pushes the building back. That's the main reason we couldn't meet this.
So you're entering from Walnut Lane or whatever?
Yeah. Well, in the
I can't hear you.
There's actually
Yes.
an exit, there's actually a road over there. Yeah, it goes into Walnut Lane.
Right.
Yeah, those are internal driveway or internal roads you'll see behind the store and to the north, which is the right of the sheet. Those are internal driveways for the SRP site. You know, they're the office over there, and those are going to be our main access points. And that's kind of how this started. Why this is pushed back, because when I originally I was pushing it forward, trying to meet this, this build out, and with the driveways connections, they were, they see most of their traffic coming in and out from the road behind versus coming in from US 25.
So the two driveways coming out on the Highway 25 are existing. So those are 2 existing cuts.
Oh,
Yes.
I see. Okay. So those are existing now. Is one of them with the AutoZone or whatever it is, or?
That is a common driveway.
Okay. And the other is SRP credit
Yes.
union. Okay. Okay. But you hope to have people circle around and go out the back.
Well, I mean, obviously people will come in off it, but a lot of people will be exiting in the rear. They're actually looking at trying to work with SRP about getting on their sign. They have a sign out there. Of course, that hadn't come about to Libby yet. So, but that's one of their hopes, is they see a lot of people coming from the Walnut Lane driveway. Yeah.
I have an unrelated question. Does this mean that the the Arby's and the Starbucks that we have on Knox Avenue are gonna close? Anybody know the answer to that question?
I don't know the answer to that question, but
I didn't think you would, Ms. Bank.
I think if you've
Yeah,
ever been to the Starbucks, you would agree that a second location is probably justified.
That was just a little side comment. Anybody have any questions on this of Libby or of Ms. Banks?
Is this, I don't know who to direct this to, but isn't this the similar situation that came in with the Wendy's and Dairy Queen?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yes, it is. It's identical the same.
Yeah.
Yes.
We had to grant those variances in order for them to put it like they did on the building, and that's worked out fine.
I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page, and that's what I recall.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions of either one of them? I'll close the public hearing. And do you have any comments from anybody out there, Libby?
No, sir, I didn't receive any comments on this project.
Okay. Well, hearing no more questions or comments, I will close the public hearing. And we will take up we'll have the consideration of the application ZV 20-003. And Mr. Banks, just for your information, what we usually do is go through these items one at a time that we have to find for, and then if we come to any one that we can't say yes on, then that stops the process. But so we'll start. This is staff analysis. An unnecessary hardship exists. The applicant states that the proposed building prototype requires a certain orientation on the parcel to facilitate user protection traffic that is not attainable within the current code of requirements. Staff notes that the use of two buildings require additional room to accommodate vehicle access around the buildings. It appears that the property may be divided some future time. Assuming this is true, interparcel access is also required by the Highway Corridor Overlay District. Additionally, parking requirements will have to be met for both properties, which will further complicate the layout. So if I read that right, if they decide later to divide the properties, they're going to be sort of up the creek if they want to vary because they created the hardship.
Speaking as staff, the point that we were trying to make is that the layout of the buildings is going to be difficult one way or the other. And between them having to meet parking requirements and them having to meet setback requirements, which is the more important?
Okay, it's your point. I wonder what that noise is. Where's our IT director?
I'll tell you what it is. It's Beverly Huff renovating her basement apartment. I'll go inside. There's somebody
Okay.
there. I'm on my porch. I'll go inside. I didn't know you could hear it.
I can also mute you if you need me to.
That's okay. I'm inside. Is that better?
Yes,
Yes.
thank you.
Okay.
So what are y'all feelings on number one?
Repeat that. Pull that up. Repeat the first requirement. I can't pull it up right now.
Unnecessary hardship exists.
Right. Well, if they're gonna build it together, it is, but at the same time, that's their doings, but, it is an unnecessary hardship, and at this day and time, you need outdoor seating, that's for sure.
Yes, I think we're good to go on that one.
Kevin, your thoughts? Kevin, have we lost him? Libby, have we lost Kevin?
He's still showing up, but he may be frozen.
Kevin, if you can hear us, you may want to try to log off and log back in.
See if your mute button's on.
Forgive us, Mr. Banks. You're frozen too, also, but we could hear you talking.
I was just sitting still.
Nobody can set that still, Mr. Banks.
Am I frozen still?
Wesley,
I'm here.
I see you, but it says, now it says Wes, but it did say David, but it was you.
David spoke though. He said he asked if he was still frozen, but he is. But we can hear you all. We can hear you all right, but that's fine.
Okay.
But Kevin had made it back.
Do you want to poll the other members or are you still taking comments?
No, I'll poll the other members. Jim, your thoughts on this?
Yeah, in the whole scheme of things, because this is the way everybody's moving it. Starbucks, Arby's, this is their new store plan. So yes, I mean, it is a hardship on them.
And it's
following the corporate.
It's going to be a great addition to that area.
Yeah.
It sure is, right.
Kevin, it says Kevin is back. Kevin, are you back?
Yeah, I'm back.
All right.
Sorry about that.
That's all right. What are your thoughts on this? So far, the three of us.
I'll say it's a hardship. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
I looked at the drawing up. I'm good with the first question. Yes.
Good. The first one we're good on. There are extraordinary and exceptional conditions pertaining to this particular piece of property. The applicant states that the previous subdivided SRP parcel does not allow for a building orientation to satisfy the 30% build-out requirements.
I agree with that.
Yeah,
I do too.
And that's not of his doing, so I think I'm agreeable with that.
Okay. The conditions do not generally apply to other property in the vicinity. Well, we have had this question before and we have granted the variance.
So we're saying that it doesn't apply to other properties, but it did with the piece and the Dairy Queen.
Well, it was the orientation of the building in order to have the drive-through in and to not have to go out onto Highway 25.
Right.
But we can agree with number 3.
Yes.
Kevin?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. Kathy?
Yeah, fine with that.
Because of these conditions, the application of this chapter to the particular piece of property would effectively prohibit or unreasonably restrict the utilization of the property. And the applicant states that the minimum build-out requirement places an unreasonable restriction on the type of building or business that can be utilized in the lot. I'll just add a little side note to that. If y'all can remember, we've had several variance requests, and they included, especially for franchisees, that the building has to be built in a certain way, or they're not going to have a franchise there.
We've had that with car dealerships, you know, especially we've had that with several car dealerships. They
Yeah.
have no say in how it is. Corporate tells them.
Yeah. So can we agree with this one?
Yes.
And
Yes.
Okay. Number 5, the authorization of a variance will not be substantial detriment to the adjacent property or the public good, and the character of the district will not be harmed by granting the variance. Harm to the character of the district may include structures that are significantly out of scale, creation or potential for the creation of excessive noise, light, traffic, and incompatible late night activities. None of that. I mean, it's all going on out there now anyway.
Yes, that's right.
it's all
Fits in
commercial, so I think that's a given.
So we're good with that one.
Yes.
All right, number 5, number 6, not applicable. 7, the Board of Zoning Appeals may not grant a variance, the effect of which would be to allow the establishment of a non-use or otherwise permitted in the district zoning. Restaurants with drive-throughs or allowed uses in the general commercial zoning district. To extend physically non-conforming use of the land, the variance does not extend a physical non-conforming use of the land. To change the zoning district boundaries shown in the official zoning map, it does not do that. So can we find that one out? Yes.
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 Okay. Number 8, if the unnecessary hardship is self-imposed by the applicant, the variance should not be granted. That's not the case in here, I think.
Correct.
I don't think so either.
I agree.
Number 9, the fact that the property may be utilized for profitable should a variance be granted shall not be considered grounds for a variance. Staff recognizes that the property may be used more profitable if developed, but it is not the sole grounds for the variance. Can we agree on that one?
Yes.
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 In granting the variance, the Board of Zoning Appeals may attach to it such conditions regarding the location, character, or other features of the proposed building, structure, or use the board may consider advisable to promote the public health, safety, or general welfare. Staff recommends the following conditions. The property will be developed in general conformance with the layout provided. Minor changes to the layout may be allowed as determined by the Planning and Development Director. In no case will a less conforming layout be allowed, and no additional curb cuts onto Highway 25 will be allowed. Can y'all think of any other one that we need to add to that? Libby, can you go back to the picture that shows the buildings?
This is the
Hey,
RV.
What about the one that shows? I think that's the one I was looking at.
Okay, here's the Starbucks.
Okay, and the Planning Commission, when they approve the site plan, will require the necessary landscaping, right?
Yes.
Is there any additional landscaping that we should add to this that you can think of?
Libby, this is a question for Libby. When they add landscaping like this, isn't it a requirement that irrigation is provided also?
Yes, irrigation is currently required by the code.
Okay.
My concern is if we add too much more vegetation than what's going to be required with our code, we're going to run into issues of plant health and maintenance. And also it may end up squeezing their layout even more and make this even more non-conforming.
So you're satisfied with with the landscaping that our code requires?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that was really my question. Should have asked it that way.
Okay.
So we're good with that? Anybody want to add anything?
No,
I don't.
I
good to
don't.
go.
Okay, so would our esteemed writer of motions make a motion?
Yes, I will. Okay, based on the findings previously discussed and voted on, I move that application ZV 20-003, a request by J.R. Hong for a variance pursuant to sections, Article 3, Section 3.8.5.3, Highway Corridor Overlay District, and Table 3-9 of the North Augusta Development Code to for variance to the required 30% minimum frontage build out required in the code be granted, but the following agreements, conditions, stipulations, or directives. And there's two. Number one, the property would be developed in general conformance with the layout provided. Minor changes to the layout may be allowed as determined by the planning and development director. In no case will a less conforming layout be allowed. And number two, no additional curb cuts onto Highway 25 will be allowed.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I'll second.
I think I heard Kathy first. Any
Keegan
more
has it.
discussion?
No,
No, sir.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, none. Mr. Banks, you have your variance.
I appreciate that.
I have a question, Mr. Banks.
Yes.
What is the time frame for this?
They've asked us to have plans submitted by the next, I think in the beginning of next month on the next submittal deadline date. Trying to hit that. I think we have to, I need to speak with Libby about some other things first, especially the property line issue.
Okay.
Across that. But I believe they want the fourth quarter of this year, start construction. So that's
Start
probably where we're headed.
construction. When, you broke up. Start construction.
The fourth quarter, what is it?
First quarter.
November, October. Yeah,
Oh,
something like
fourth
that.
quarter. Fourth quarter. Okay.
Yeah,
All
fourth
right.
quarter, yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. The next application is ZV 20-004. A request by Circle K Stores, Inc. for a variance from the maximum setback required by the North Augusta Development Code, Article 3, Section 3.8.5.3, Highway Corridor Overlay District Dimensional Standards in Table 3.9. The application affects one plus or minus 1.69 acres portion of tax parcel 006-18-05-016, 006-18-05-017, and 006-18-05-018, located at 421 West Martintown Road, Zone General Commercial. I will open the public hearing for the purpose of hearing to receive public comments to the application. Do we have anyone here from the developer?
Hello, I'm Paul Walker. I'm with Bowman Consulting.
Let me swear you in, sir.
Yes,
You
sir.
raise your right hand. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir, I do.
Would you state your name and address, please?
Yeah, my name is Paul Waller. Address is 4350 Suite 219, Harrisburg, North Carolina. 75.
Would you like to tell us a little something about the project?
Yeah, sure. So I'm with Bowman Consulting. We are an engineering firm working with Circle K on this project. Circle K, so what they're looking to do is redevelop their store there on Martintown Road, kind of the West Avenue intersection. It's currently an under canopy store. So it's a smaller C store that's underneath the canopy. And what Circle K is looking to do is to acquire a couple pieces of adjacent properties, put in a larger format store, and a canopy with more spacing, and their standard canopy in store. And so right now we're working through the site plan, and we're here tonight basically to request a variance for that maximum building setback on this site. And what we're trying to do with this site plan is to go with the canopy footprint front and the store back behind it to allow vehicle circulation around the canopy and that parking out front in front of the store. That's how this site lays out, and that's how we've been moving forward with a lot of the C-store layouts around the country.
So you,
Any questions? And we also have Matt Cotton, who is with Circle K. He's also on the line. He can any more owner.
so you bought the car wash next door.
This is Matt Cotton with Circle K. We are
Sir, I can't see you, but would you raise your right hand and swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. We are currently under contract on the car wash next door, as well as a portion of property behind the site.
Now that portion of property behind the site is vacant at the present time, correct?
Say that again.
The portion of the property behind the current store has nothing on it, does it?
It has nothing on it, correct?
Right.
And it's on the site plan shown on the screen. It's just kind of the little 20-foot sliver directly behind the store, and that just allows us to satisfy all of the rear setbacks and the landscaping.
Okay.
Wes, I think you're muted.
Yeah, I was asking the gentleman from Circle K, are you closing the automated car wash?
Our car wash on our site?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. That
I vote no right now.
Oh boy.
No, I'm kidding. No, I did see that on the couch. I just wanted to make sure that was happening. Anybody have any quick? Libby, would you like to give us any information?
I don't have a whole lot to add to the application that they haven't covered already. There is a significant portion of the lot to the north that is currently vacant that will remain vacant until someone else wants to come and develop it. So I think this part of the reason they're going forward with this as well is to close some of those driveway access points across Martintown Road.
Yes.
So that is an important consideration when you're thinking about this request.
Well, this will be a really nice improvement for that whole area, like with that car wash gone and the F car wash gone. That would be a big eyesore gone.
So Kathy, I think I'm going to need to mute you right quick because there may be some feedback.
There may be some what?
some feedback coming through your microphone.
Oh, okay.
Okay, do we have any questions, Jim, Kevin, Kathy?
No, sir, I'm good. Pretty much.
I'm good.
self-explanatory.
I'm good too.
I think Kathy can hear me. Do you have any questions, Kathy?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I just wanted to make a comment to Mr. Cotton. This is completely beside the point, but we were in Ireland last early fall, and there were Circle K's all over the coast of Ireland and Northern Ireland. So
Yes, ma'am. We've got a fairly big European presence. A lot of our executive team is from Europe, so they those stores are great. I hope someday I can get over there and visit those. I've heard a lot of good things.
One of them, giant ice cream cone out front. They all sold self-serve ice cream.
Yes, that is one thing I've heard about our European stores. You know, in the U.S., you hear you're never supposed to buy sushi out of a convenience store, but over there, it's totally normal. So I guess our food program's great there.
Well, that was just it. They were very nice stores.
I always enjoy hearing stuff like that. Thank you.
All right, if we have no more questions of either of these two gentlemen, I will close. I will ask Libby, do we have any comments from general public?
I did not receive any comments on this project.
Thank you. So hearing no other comments, I will close the public hearing and we'll take up the application. And as I told the last gentleman who was on the phone with us on the last variance, that there are several things that we have to find in the affirmative in order to grant the variance. If we find any one of them not in the affirmative, then the variance cannot be granted. And I'll read them. Number one is an unnecessary hardship exists. Number two, there are extraordinary and exceptional conditions pertaining to the particular piece of property. Number three, the conditions do not generally apply to any other property in the vicinity. Number four is because of the conditions, the application of this chapter to the particular piece of property would effectively prohibit or unreasonably restrict the utilization of the property. And number five, the authorization of the variance will not be of substantial detriment to the adjacent property or public good, and the character of the district will not be harmed by the granting of the variance. Harm to the character of the district may include structures that are significantly out of scale and the creation or potential of the creation of excessive noise, light, traffic, or incompatibility late night activities. Number six does not apply, and I believe that's signs. That's addressed by the Planning Commission. Number seven is the Board of Zoning Appeals may not grant a variance of the effect which would A, allow establishment of a use not otherwise permitted in the zoning district. B, extend physically a non-conforming use of land. C, to change the zoning district boundaries shown on the official zoning map. Number eight is if the unnecessary hardship is self-imposed by the applicant, the variance should not be granted. Number nine is the fact that the property may be utilized more profitable should a variance be granted shall not be considered grounds for a variance. And number 10, in granting a variance, the Board of Zoning Appeals may attach to it such conditions regarding the location, character, or other features of the proposed building, structure, or use as the board may consider advisable to promote the public health, safety, and general welfare. If we find in all of these, then we can grant a variance. If we can't, then we deny the variance. So, in keeping with the way that we handle these, we handle them one at a time, and if we come to one that we can't resolve and we vote in the negative, then the process stops at that point. So, we'll consider the application. And number one is an unnecessary hardship exists. The applicant states the maximum front setback does not allow for sufficient building circulation around the fueling canopy. Staff notes that the existing building setback on the property is approximately 60 feet from the property line, front property line. And I believe you said you had already, you already purchasing about 20 feet behind it so you can move the building back even further. Is that what I understood?
Yes, that was to allow for the rear setback. If we didn't have that, it would be pushed up to the front, and that wouldn't allow for that circulation around the canopy.
Okay.
So I got a quick question, Wesley. So is this kind of like, the Starbucks and is this going to be kind of y'all's new concept that corporate's going to start requiring?
Yes. So this is, we've gotten corporate approval on this project. They've approved this site plan and they're ready to have us roll. And I believe we've already started permitting. Paul, you can correct me if I'm wrong there, but yes, it's basically the same thing as the Starbucks Arby's. It's the whole new corporate policy, and the building elevations that were on the next slide are the whole new prototype stores that we build, and we're hoping this is the first of a couple to be coming to the North Augusta area.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody have a problem with this one?
No.
No.
I don't. I think, again, it's corporate driven and there's not much he can do about that.
Well, and it's going to be a big improvement of that whole corner of that of Martintown Road and that entrance into the subdivision back there.
Right, right.
And it's going to really help the safety side because they will have 4 entrances right there crammed together. Number 2, there are extraordinary and exceptional conditions pertaining to the particular piece of property. The applicant states that the redevelopment of the subject policy is in conjunction with South Carolina DOT to close 2 existing driveways to improve access safety along State Road. And staff says while this request from the South Carolina DOT is separate from the application, staff notes that safety considerations for sight distance and driveways and landscaping and other obstructions are important in this review. I have seen many accidents from people coming out of that property and people trying to come down the Martintown Road and coming off of that side road at the same time. So I think it's a step up.
I agree.
Agree.
Okay. Item 3. The conditions do not generally apply to other property of this vicinity. The applicant states that surrounding locations are not businesses that primarily rely on vehicle circulation. Staff notes that there are no other gas stations within at least a mile of this station, and that's true.
Yes.
And the car wash is closed permanently, so that's just an eyesore. We agree with number 3.
Yes.
Okay. Number 4. Because of the conditions, the application of this chapter to the particular piece of property would effectively prohibit or unreasonably restrict the utilization of this property. The applicant states that a maximum front setback of 90 feet would require narrow drive aisles around the canopy, creating safety issues for drivers. Staff notes that the current canopy on either side provides access surrounding the building on all sides.
I think that one's a go.
Yes, sir. Yes. We're good.
Agree.
Okay. Number 5, the authorization of a variance will not be of substantial detriment to the adjacent property or the public good, and the character of the district will not be harmed by granting of the variance. Harm to the character of the district may include structures that are significantly out of scale in creation or potential for the creation of excessive noise, light, traffic, or incompatibility late night activity. It's already doing all that, so it's not changing.
Correct.
And you've got everything else goes on at that strip mall up at on up on the top of the hill there.
I agree.
It's not changing any of that.
No, it's not.
Agree.
Number 6 is not applicable. Number 7 is the Board of Zoning Appeals may not grant a variance of effect, which would be to allow the establishment of use not otherwise permitted. We're not doing that. To extend the physically a non-conforming use of the land, we're not doing that. And to change the zoning district boundaries, we're not doing that. So that's okay. Number 8, the unnecessary hardship is self-imposed by the applicant of the variance should not be if the unnecessary hardship is self-imposed by the applicant, the variance should not be granted. The applicant states that the hardship is not self-imposed and multiple configurations and layouts have been considered in an attempt to meet the requirements of the highway corridor overlay. And again, it gets back to corporations are now mandating that they put in certain sizes and certain type buildings, or you don't get the franchise. How do we feel?
I agree.
I agree.
Kathy?
I think that's okay.
Okay. The fact that the property may be utilized more profitably should a variance be granted shall not be considered grounds of a variance. Staff recognizes the property may be used more properly if redeveloped, but is not sole grounds for this variance. I mean, they can keep the Circle K going right there where it is without doing anything. So we agree on that one?
I do.
Yes.
Okay. Number 10, in granting the variance, the Board of Zoning Appeals may attach to it such conditions regarding the location, character, or other features of the proposed building, structure, or use as the board may consider advisable to promote the public health, safety, or general welfare. The applicant proposes a sidewalk along North Hills Drive to allow pedestrian access to the convenience store. The applicant should maintain sidewalk access on all rights of ways. The highway corridor requires pedestrian passway to the front entry door of the building. The applicant proposes large shrubs, ornamental grass, and trees to screen the front canopy area. Staff notes that the screening of the canopy with vegetation is likely impossible, and slight distance considerations will be critical to maintain the safety of the new driveway cut. Libby, I'll ask a question about that now. That is something that will be addressed on the site plan, right?
It will be, but we will, if it's a condition of this variance, we will be bound to have it continue.
State that again.
So if you make it a condition of the variance, we will be required to put it in. They will not be able to ask for any variance with the planning commission to remove those requirements.
Well, I got to ask you then, is the staff recommendation that we put them in or not put them in?
The sidewalk?
All the bushes and the hedges.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I think it would be best to give staff a little bit of discretion about making sure that site distance is going to be addressed and will not be impacted. I think the losing some of those driveway cuts really lessens that impact. I would not feel comfortable allowing them to completely do away with all of that.
Okay.
I also believe that these canopies in the building is never going to be screened by what they will put in that front bed. So the actual impact of what they plant, it may look really nice, but it's not going to serve really a screening purpose.
Kevin, have you figured out how you're gonna word that?
I'm just gonna read it the way it is.
I do have one question though. It does show up on the front up there on the Martintown Road access, the airfill and the vacuum. Does that need to be there in the front, or can we move it to the side or towards the back of the property and kind of clear up where you don't have a vacuum cleaner and an air pump right there on Martintown Road?
You can require that.
Okay, I was going to ask. I think Mr. Cotton's trying to talk as well.
We can look at moving that. I think there's a couple locations on there. I would want to make sure that it wouldn't be behind any parking spots where people could potentially back into one another.
I agree with that.
But let me see. That is one of the places where it's located now, or is one of the widest places on the site. I don't think we'd want it in front of the. Well, we could. I don't know if we'd want to put it in front of the dumpster or not.
But what about over there to the right of where it is now, just on that side road on North Hills and the canopy there? I just think it's more of an eyesore out front on Martintown because that's a main thoroughfare.
Yeah, we could look at doing that. It's a little tighter on that side. I think it's 40 feet where it is now, and maybe 36 or 35 where we'd move it to. But I think that should be fine. A car is only 8 or so feet wide.
Yes, sir.
Paul, would it fit there? Just kind of speaking off the cuff.
Yeah, it looks like it would fit over there, and it may encroach a little bit into landscape buffer along that side. That might be something we need to visit, but yeah, I think we can definitely pull it off of that Martintown frontage if that's what you guys are after.
Yeah, that's what we. Okay, we'll add that in there then.
So how would that word? We word that to be a consider relocating or relocating.
Relocate.
Relocate.
Well, Wesley, looks like we're pretty much a go on that, except for those couple little stipulations.
All right, let me add let's read the last two. Contact with and approval of neighboring properties with shared access should be documented prior to the final site plan approval. That needs to be in there. Staff does not recommend removing any requirements of buffering with the adjacent properties. This buffer would be 8 feet along all internal property lines. So we'll go with all of that. We're going to add the removal of the vacuum.
Yes.
Okay.
Can I ask a question regarding the 8-foot internal property line buffer?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
So we do have an internal property line between the proposed Circle K store and the adjacent doctor's office, and that property line is in the middle of an existing drive that goes back behind the doctor's office. So providing a buffer on that property line is going to be difficult. We do have some area on site on the Circle K property where we'll be able to but it won't be on the property line. So I guess I just want to ask the question if that's going to be an issue that foot width isn't on the actual property line.
I think we could amend that last condition to along all internal property lines or as close as practicable, because I believe we've spoken about that before.
Okay.
Okay. We can agree to that, can't we?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. So looks like we've approved all 9 of them. Can our great writer of motions make a motion?
Yes, okay. Based on the findings previously discussed and voted on, I move that application number ZV 20-004, a request by Circle K Stores, and voted on, the request by Circle K Stores for a variance pursuant to Article 3, Section 3.8.5.3, Highway Corridor Overlay District Dimensional Standards in Table 3-9 of the North Augusta Development Code for variance from the maximum setback required by the North Augusta Development Code be granted with the following agreements, conditions, stipulations, or directives. And there are 5. Number 1, the applicant proposes a sidewalk along North Hills Drive to allow pedestrian access to the convenience store. The applicant should maintain sidewalk access on all right of ways. The highway corridor also requires pedestrian passageway to the front entry door of the building. Number 2, the applicant proposes large shrubs, ornamental grasses, and trees to screen the front canopy area. Staff notes the screening of the canopy with vegetation is likely impossible, and site distance considerations will be critical to maintain the safety of the new driveway cut. Number 3, contact with and approval of neighboring properties with shared access should be documented prior to final site plan approval. Number 4, staff does not recommend removing any requirement for buffering with adjacent properties. This buffer would be 8 feet along all internal property lines or as close as practical. And number 5, relocate the air and vacuum station off Martintown Road. Or is there another specific location I need to add to that?
No, just off of Martintown Road.
Okay. All right.
So we have a motion, and do we have a second?
Second.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to go with Jim on that one. I think I saw his lips moving before I heard her say anything.
Thank you.
Do we have any discussion?
No, sir.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? I won't restate my objection to the car wash going away, but okay.
So can you reiterate who had the motion in the second there?
Yes, Kevin made the motion and Jim seconded.
Okay, thank you.
I do have a question while we got Mr. Cotton and Paul. I don't remember which one. Y'all made a comment that you already got some others that y'all are thinking about doing in the area. Have y'all already located or targeted those?
Yes, we have a couple of other existing stores that we've looked at. One that's out on Jefferson Davis Highway. We're working on out in front. There's a Sprint nearby,
Yes.
as well as the old store right next to y'all's office building or y'all's building, the one on Georgia Avenue.
Okay.
I know that the stipulation with that last one is that the deli next door, and it's a very similar site as this one. It's a little tight, but I believe that that little deli has closed, so we are in talks with them at the moment and trying to work something out.
Okay. Thank you.
Very good.
Just fair warning in that area. There are other stipulations that are going to get in the way, so you probably come to meet with us about that.
Yes. Oh, I've imagined that one's going to be a little tough.
Okay.
Anything else?
No, sir.
Thank you.
Thank
Paul,
you.
thank you. We appreciate your help.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you
Thank you all
everyone.
very much for your time. Y'all take it easy.
You too. Thank you.
And Wes will try to find another car wash location for you.
I appreciate that very much. It's close to my house. That's why I want my car wash back.
I want ice cream.
We like that car wash too, and you know what else we use it for is to wash oysters before we have oyster roast.
Thank y'all.
Perfect. Thank you all
Thank
very
you very
much.
much. All right. Before we adjourn, Libby, do you think we'll do this again, or do you think we'll be back in the building, or what?
So the next city council meeting and planning commission will be in person. So my assumption is, barring any huge spike or other unfortunate circumstance, we will be back in person next time.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you going all to get this set up.
So on July 9th, if we meet on July 9th, I won't be here. I could do it virtually, but I can't be here in person.
Yeah, so far we have not, we don't have an ability for boards to participate or board members to participate electronically. The whole board can meet electronically, but the individual participation wasn't part of a recent municipal ordinance change. So
I'm just giving you a heads up.
yeah, I appreciate it.
You just have your phone, and I'll have mine, and I'll open it up so you can listen, and then you can at least write the motion, and then we'll handle it from there.
All right.
I appreciate you doing this too, Kevin. Thank you.
Hey, no problem.
Thank you.
Libby, you got anything else for us? Everybody doing their training?
I have not heard from a number of people, but if you can do your online training, I'd really appreciate that. I don't think we're going to have many opportunities to do anything in person for the rest of the year.
You don't think the one in Hilton Head's going to go?
No, I don't think that's going to happen.
Well, darn.
Sorry. I was looking forward to it too. I was going to take the kids.
That's right. That would be fun down there for a few days. Anybody else got anything they would like to discuss while we're here?
No, sir.
I do appreciate. Yeah, go ahead, Kathy.
I don't have it. I did have something, but I can't remember what it was now.
Story of my life.
Yeah.
The memory is the second thing that goes. I can't remember the first. All right. Well, I appreciate everybody being here. Thank you very much for your time and efforts.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Good night.
Tell them.
Thank you.
Thank you. Libby.
Yes, sir.